Anyway, that's the story about how I lost my virginity to an orangutan. So.
Oh,
there.
Best story I ever heard in 15 years.
Okay, okie dokie.
15 long years in Azkaban.
I'm Ned Flanders now. Can you imagine having Ned Flanders?
I've done my waiting.
15 years I am. Sorry.
Okay.
Pretty cool, yeah.
So we left off with you guys making your way out of the needle and thread, or the thread and needle. I forgot what I named this fucking place, but as you guys, excuse me, as you guys make your way out from the shop, you guys collectively make your way over to the King's Hall, which, as you remember, is like kind of the area that serves as a courthouse, and it's one of the very tall buildings, one of the very tall spires in Zadash. And it's about a 30-minute walk, so you guys have plenty of time to like talk amongst yourselves. Of course, little princess is there walking along, kind of bobbing and weaving through ankles. Eventually, though, you guys make your way into the building itself once you make your way to across the pavilion. And as usual, sitting in the lobby is Captain Ammon, the red tiefling, who, as you'll remember, his last name is Gus. And and when you guys enter, he's sort of like filling out paperwork with a quill, kind of one paper at a time. It seems like a lot of his job currently is just filling out paperwork. And fortunately for him, he gets a bit of a reprieve when he looks up and kind of like double takes to see you guys and quickly stands up. And he's like, good to fucking see you.
That's new.
Dhuur'in says, maybe not. And then gestures to Nox, who still has the letter.
Oh, that's right. I saw you to check out the thread and needle, didn't you? You guys find anything?
She just sighs. Unfortunately, yes. Does she also? Oh wait, sorry. Does she also still have the book? Do you think, or would she have left that?
The ledger.
Yeah.
I'll say one of you remembered to grab the ledger. I think it's hard to. I think it's hard to. I can't imagine anybody left
forgetting about it.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody left the store and was like, "Oh shit, the book that had like the madman's dying words written in them. Hang on, where did I put that?" Yeah, I don't think that happened. So
yeah,
she's got the letter like tucked into the book at the pages where it's like he's too tall.
Yeah, exactly. She definitely would not have forgotten to bring it. So she's gonna like. Yeah, I think Vinn is right. She's got the book and she's got the letter like tucked into the book on the page where shit starts getting crazy. And she holds it out towards him and she's like, "Look at the book first. We found this in the store and this letter is, well, just read it."
And he takes it and nods and he's like, "All right." And he opens up the book. This is not the ledger. This is Terry Pratchett and Man at Arms. It's a very good book. Again, not sponsored by Terry Pratchett. He's dead. And he opens the book and he starts reading, and it goes a little something like this. And eventually he closes it and sets it on the table and he's like, "Fuck me, what was going on with him?"
Nox like, "There was more. He carved it into the floor as well."
Carved it into the fucking... Jesus, that man made my boots! He made my socks!
He made his boots.
Eventually, he slides the letter out of the book as well and opens that up, and he has that to read. He reads through that and he's like, This Grand Eye fellow, and he kind of like squints at Ozla. That mean anybody, Danny? Have any of you ever heard that before? It's the second time it's cropped up. At this point, I don't really care. Murder has been brought to justice, the case is closed, and I have better things to attend to and spend my time on. In any case, and he kind of folds up the letter and packs it away. If you've any interest in carrying on the investigation, feel free to keep the letter, but I believe I owe you some recompense.
Cough it up.
Alright. And as you guys kind of... He motions for you guys to sit down so he can, like, go talk to the person who deals with the treasury. But eventually he does come back with, carrying in his arms about, like, 5 little pouches. And so you guys can go ahead and add, I believe it was 50 gold each to your inventory.
Ooh.
Except for Dhuur'in, who has an extra 100. I mean, an extra 50. Sorry.
Why? Hush money.
Oh yeah!
And he sees you kind of like realizing that you have a little extra in there, and he kind of nods and he's like, "For keeping my men safe."
Okay.
Fenkin gives him the stinky eye.
What am I? Chopped liver.
Prophet Galevok is on the mend. If you were wondering, he wanted me to send his regards and his thanks as well to all of you. And once again, I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for my city. You're a good group of folks. There's a need for people like you in this world. Good need indeed.
Sure.
Imagine like them getting this talk from him after all the shit that they've just seen in the past like 2 days. They're just like, yeah, definitely.
That in mind, your stipends come to an end, and if you bless you, and if you yourselves do cause trouble around Zadash, I will not hesitate to throw you in the slammer. That in mind.
Like to see you try.
That in mind,
Gesh.
good day and God's bless.
Bye!
And with that, you guys have been paid for your time, and he's also stamped your passports. He's handed those back. I forgot to mention that. But you've got a fresh seal of Zadash on the little stamp card portion of your passports, which is always nice.
Yeah.
So
I have a question.
I have an answer.
What is the name on Dhuur'in's passport? Is it his full name?
It is. They didn't get your full name, so it's just Mr. Kolbavar.
Okay.
First name.
So with all your gold, with all your bag of shinies inside your pouches now, you guys make your way out, and now you have 2 options. You can go to the Cogsocket Emporium, or you can make your way to the bathhouse of Zadash, which I'm going to say, asking around the tavern about it, maybe Claudia told you about it. The bathhouse itself is called Steam's Respite.
I believe we said we were going to do the bathhouse at the end of the day, so I do believe we're going to the toy maker first.
Okay.
Toy time.
Toy. Oh yeah, they need to do that, and then they need to clean themselves up for the brothel.
All right. So, is anyone gonna mention are you guys gonna talk about it in character at all, or?
Yeah, I'll do it since I have the business card. As they step outside, Fenkin is sort of minding his business, like weighing the coin purse in his hand with a smug expression, and then tucks it in. And then as he tucks it away, he sort of notices the card in his pouch or bag, whatever he has, and he pulls it out, and he's like, "Oh, right, and then he pauses in the middle of the step, so whoever is walking behind him might accidentally collide with him. If Gesh walks into him, he's just shoved forward into the dirt.
Lessons.
Yeah, Fenkin, as you stop, you suddenly hear like, whoops, and then Gesh's like chest bashes into the back of your head. And being the skinny lad you are, there's no hope for you, and you just kind of.
Plus 2 brain damage.
He falls to his hands and knees in the mud, and he's like, oh! And then he swears in Elvish. And then he turns around, whips around, and glares at Gesh like, watch it, you big fellow!
Also just laughs.
Yeah, and then in Draconic he goes, fuck you two.
He stands up on his feet and just sort of at Gesh. And then he's like, anyway, as he brushes his clothes off very grumpily, he pulls the card up and he's like, I believe we made an appointment, if anyone remembers our trip here. And then he sort of holds the card out. The, what was his name again?
It was something.
Patty!
I think Sprocket was in the name.
His
Patty
full
Von
name,
Sprocket.
his full name was Betty Boris von Patty Cogsprocket.
Yeah.
A Betty Boris one cog sprocket something, the toy maker.
And Fenkin, as soon as you say the word Cogsprocket, the card between your fingers suddenly feels very warm. And you blink, and when you look down on it, you see the words are gone, replaced by a glowing arrow. And when you turn it, the arrow shifts, like you were holding a compass and kind of like turning it around in your hand. And it seems to be pointing northeast, thereabouts, towards a specific street that's right in front of you guys.
So his attention is drawn downwards by the glow, and he sort of blinks at it, and he's like, oh, and then he says something, an expression in Elvish, similar to, oh my god. And then he looks up at the group again and says, I believe this is showing us the direction of where to go. Shall we?
Sure, let's all visit a toy shop. Wonderful.
You don't have to come with us.
You should.
I do. The last time you decided to go somewhere, you nearly died.
I didn't specify if it was adult toys, by the way.
Huh?
Nothing. Anyway.
Wait, what?
So you all watch as Fenkin starts to like fiddle with the card, and you see the arrow pointing. You know, kind of staying in the direction while the card moves.
Dhuur'in nearly bumps into him to get a look at it.
It's his turn to hold Fenkin's cloak.
No, he doesn't do that. He's got one hand firm on his staff and the other firm on his book underneath his cloak.
And I'm also going to say that Princess is also on your head, Dhuur'in, and he's watching very intently the card, and very little raccoon hands, grabby hands, kind of reach out for the card like he wants to hold it.
Fenkin is sort of holding it away from him, like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Does not deprive him.
He will eat it.
That's his right.
It is not. That's right. Whatever. And then he sort of keeps walking and following the arrow, sometimes looking behind his shoulder to see that he's still being followed, and that looking at Gesh to see that he's keeping his distance this time. He doesn't want to fall face flat into the mud again.
All right. So you guys make your way towards the street, following Fenkin and this weird little business card compass. And it takes you down several streets where you get for some reason, it seems like the arrow is leading you down some of the nicer streets and past some of the landmarks, almost as if like the spell that's bound in this glowing arrow is giving you a little like tour of Zadash, which is a nice little bit of like magical business ideology, I guess. But eventually, you are led to what you believe is the Cogsprocket Emporium, because as soon as you arrive in a specific area, the arrow on the card begins to spin, and spin even faster until suddenly it evaporates like fireworks.
Can I roll an Arcana check to see what kind of spell that was?
Well, unfortunately, the spell on the card itself was just deactivated. So if you did, you would just be like looking at a card. But the building that you stopped at before the arrow exploded on the card. Mostly, when it comes to buildings of Zadash, there's usually a pretty consistent like build style, very old and very Germanic. This building sticks out like a sore thumb because instead of looking like a building, it looks like a giant top hat, purple in color. There's even like a black band on the forehead part of the top hat that wraps all the way around, and a pair of goggles sticking out of the hat that work as windows. And at the very center of the hat, there's a very, very small door. In fact, it's so small, it really only looks like Ozla will be able to get in without. Ozla looks like she's going to be the only one who can get in without having to get on her hands and knees. And on the front of this weird hat building, there's a sign that says in very nice cursive lettering, Cogsprocket Emporium, Toy Shop Extraordinaire. Hold on, yeah, Toy Shop Extraordinarium.
Fenkin looks up at it, and then he goes like, interesting design. And then he looks down at the card, who's now very blank, and puts it away, keeping it for some reason. And then he sort of looks at the door, and then down at us, and then at the door, and then down at us. And then he stares.
What? Okay. And just like walks up to the door and just like opens it and goes to walk in. I can't describe it more.
So to clarify, you guys will be able to get into the door as well. You just gotta get crawling. But you guys watch as Ozla disappears into the door, and the building itself looks kind of small, not really like big enough to even be a toy shop. In fact, it's kind of the size of like a shack almost. But nevertheless, Ozla goes in and doesn't come out.
Fenkin panics a little bit. He panics a little bit, like, Oz? Oz? Does he not get a reply?
Nope. Door shuts behind Ozla, and there's only the sound of the copper bell being hit by the door.
He goes, shit, and then he sort of crouches down in front of the door and tries to open it.
Okay, the door opens, and I assume you crawl in?
Yes.
Okay. So, Fenkin and anybody else who follows him inside. I am now going to read the very fancy introduction that I wrote for Cogsprocket's Emporium, so bear with me. As you enter on your hands and knees, you are immediately assaulted by the sweet scents of peppermint and fresh melted chocolate. All around you, there is the tinny clank of copper gears and running motors. These are the smells and sounds of childhood, and as you look all around you, you begin to understand that this is not your average toy shop. Bigger, Much bigger, perhaps, than the interior of the Leaky Tap, the interior of Cogsprocket's Emporium is a wonderland of toys and entertainment, much bigger than its exterior would allow, full of warm, bright lights and shiny trinkets. Wooden birds fly through the air, dipping over and through rafters, and past the chiming chandeliers that hang there. Balloons float, heedless of the breeze, with soft lights glowing within them as they hang in the air like bloated glowflies, twinkling and winking, and even being jostled aside when a floating toy warship passes through, suspended by what appears to be a miniature cloud. A toy train, impossibly long and lifelike, whistles as it chugs across the floor, traveling along an iron track that seems to wind throughout the store, traveling through small holes in the many shelves and even up and across walls. Toy soldiers march in procession across wooden display tables, and the miniature stuffed head of a mechanized dragon breathes a gout of flame just above your head, which terminates into a sparkling fizz of miniature fireworks. The store is big, it's beautiful, and it's likely the most magical thing that any of you have seen in your entire lives. Welcome to Cogsprocket's Emporium.
So are we able to stand up?
Yeah,
or...
it's, you know the TARDIS? It's bigger on the inside.
Yes, I'm British, I'm familiar with.
So you walk in and it's bigger on the inside. It's huge on the inside. And as you guys get in, there's plenty of room for you to stand up and look around. And it appears that you guys aren't alone in the store either. Children and adults from all walks of life are kind of milling about, with the sounds of screaming laughter from toddlers and teens alike as they explore the wares. You look off in a corner and you see that there's a little girl hugging a giant teddy bear, which amazingly hugs her back. There's two little boys who are play fighting with wooden swords down one of the many aisles. And in general, there doesn't seem to be any hint of malice in this place whatsoever. Refreshing change from the pace of the horrors of yesterday.
I am visibly uncomfortable.
Meanwhile, Fenkin he's in awe, and as he looks around, and his green eyes grow quite big. There's something inside of him, like a very, very old memory, or some sort of thing that he was born with, like some sort of instinctual desire to explore all the machinery in here, all of the technology. There's something, he feels very warm in his chest, and he almost starts to tear up a little bit as he looks around.
All right. And as this is happening, as you're all kind of like in awe staring at this giant, well-lit store, you suddenly hear the clanking of metal footsteps. Thunk, 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 thunk. And before you stands a giant brass automaton. It's humanoid in shape, but its joints are all whirring gears. Its skin is made of reflective plating that's bolted into place. Its eyes are two yellow lenses lit by two candles set deep inside each one. It's wearing what appears to be an apron of sorts with frills, and embroidered on the front is CE for Cogsprocket's Emporium. And on its head, there are two plates that kind of go up like this, almost making it look a bit like a rabbit. And as it stands before you, about 8 feet tall in total, two mechanical arms come out. And in its hands, it holds a jack-in-the-box. And it repositions it in its hand very slowly so that it's holding it in one hand, and it grabs the lever and it starts to crank it. And after a few seconds of nothing happening, the jack-in-the-box suddenly pops open with pyrotechnics and small fireworks. And when the smoke kind of clears, standing in the brass beast's hand, in lieu of a jack-in-the-box, is the gnome that you met during your days on the caravan. Before you stands, and let me see if I can remember his name, Boris von Patty Cogsprocket. He twirls his cane, he adjusts his beret, and he bows.
Yay!
His eyes are sparkling.
And when he straightens back up, the giant brass creature puts him down, and he nods up, and he's like, "Thank you very much, Clement." And he twists his long mustache, and he says, "Welcome, friends. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Cogsprocket's Toy Emporium. Can I help you find anything specific to do?" Wait a minute. I know all of you. Yeah. You were on my caravan. Oh, it's good to see you all. It really is. It truly is. Especially you, big guy. And he points up at Gesh.
Gesh's face like.
Right.
And if you guys don't remember, Boris von Cogsprocket, he's very well dressed. He's got like the puffy sleeves and like a purple vest. His boots are polished almost to reflective perfection. And he's got that like nice bejeweled cane that he kind of leans on, and he smiles. And he leans on it while grinning at you guys, and he says, "You've done quite a bit in your short time here in Zadash. I must say I'm quite impressed. Have you all been in good health?"
You know what we've been doing?
One more time, Sophie.
You know what we've been doing?
Oh, of course. It's been the talk of the town for days now. When you stop a murderer, it's not exactly something that goes unnoticed. And I'm a very perceptive man, if you'll know. I'm part of the grapevine, as the kids might say, and I know kids. I have a toy store, after all.
It looks like it.
Indeed.
How did you do that little magic trick, mate?
Come again?
How did you do that magic trick, mate?
Practice. And a magical trans-dimensional jack-in-the-box. But still, nothing too impressive. So, is there anything that I can help you find today? Or were you just here to visit little old me?
Fen, did we have an appointment?
Fen is still sparkly-eyed, staring at him, like big old eyes, and then he's like, "Oh, I believe you asked us to drop by?"
I did, yes. Oh, now I remember. Clement, coupons, please. And as soon as he says coupons, there's kind of like this slit in Clement's face that drops open to reveal like kind of another kind of a mechanized printing little unit inside his mouth. And there's a buzzing sound as like arcade tickets kind of start to pour out of his mouth in a big long stream. And Boris reaches up, pulls him off, and starts to whistles a bit as he like pulls them all apart, and hands each of you one of the tickets, and he says, "Now these are good for 50% off your entire order. Call it a thank you from me to you."
Nice, thanks, mate.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Feel free to shop around if there's anything specific that you want. I think you'll find that my store has something for everybody.
And would your store have something for a young sorcerer?
A young sorcerer. Well, I suppose I have some things. You know what? Yes, I'll go have a look in the back. I think I have something just in mind for that. And feel free to look around as you will. I'll be back in just a few minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to call for either Bree, or you can also call for. Let me look at my notes. Call for Bree. She's the red-headed dwarf that you'll find scurrying around a bit. She's a great lass, just a bit impatient. Don't get on her bad side; she might stab you. You can also, and as I said, you can also call for Clement here. He's very loyal. And there's also Fillmore, who works in the back. He's a bit on the older side, so you might need to repeat what you say to him. But he's very good at what he does. He's been with me for years, literal years. I don't think he's ever going to die. But with
Fenkin lets out a snort.
But with that, enjoy your time here in my emporium. And he spins his staff around a little bit, slams it to the ground, and suddenly there's a puff of smoke, and he's gone. So now you guys are free to kind of look about. The store isn't really separated into where Pumat Soul's store was kind of like a mishmash of things here and there. The Emporium seems to be a place that's kind of very well organized. There's specific areas for like candy and stuff. There's specific area for like stuff that's like games and books, and there's also an area for magical toys and items. So yeah, so you guys can break off into like, you know, single units, or if you guys want to like explore certain areas with each other, feel free. But let's do some shopping, baby.
I am standing uncomfortably close to Gesh.
Uncomfortably close.
I don't like it in here. There's a lot of noises and a lot of bright lights, and that jump scare scared me.
So, Gesh, I'm not gonna make you roll insight for this. You've known Gesh long enough to be able to tell when he's not really comfortable with the current situation.
You've known Gesh long enough.
Right. Yeah.
So, how do you guys want to do this?
Fenkin is off. He's already down the hallway. He's gone.
He's so excited.
Ozla, you watch
Little child in the toy shop.
Ozla, you watch as Fenkin, like a man possessed, charges into the store as if he's like a child who's been let loose in, well, a toy store.
Oh wow, he's never done that before.
Yeah.
And with Fenkin running off, she's like, I'm not going to catch up to him. So what she's going to try and do is she's going to put her arms in the air and try and catch one of the things that are flying around to see if she can like hang on to it and fly after him.
Clement kind of sees you. He kind of looks down, looks up. Two brass arms come down, pick you up, and lift you until you can like reach one of the wooden birds. In fact, a giant wooden albatross comes by. Its wings are made of like interlocking pieces of rope and wood, and it doesn't look at all like it'll be able to support your weight. But suddenly, its two wooden talons come out, grab the scruff of your shirt, and you're carried off through the store.
Thank you!
So you all watch as Fenkin vanishes and Ozla has been carried off by a magical toy bird.
Right.
Oh gosh.
Their day now.
It's day now.
One more time, sorry.
Said this is their day now. Their day now is magical birds carrying away their smallest.
Like an eagle with a mouth, just like.
I know. You kind of have a moment of watching this bird carry Ozla away, and you're just like, "Oh shit, that's our barbarian." But I'm full disclosure. I'm providing you guys a opportunity to buy common magical items.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'll just, if you guys want, like we did with Pumat Soul's store, I can go through the group kind of one by one. You know, if there's something specific that you're looking for, just let me know, and I will adjust the story accordingly. But yeah, who's going with who, and who wants to go first?
Know what kind of common magical items I can get.
I'd say you have like.
I'm so excited.
Give me what kind of check would this be? I'm gonna say history. Give me a history check.
Oh my god. You know we're not good at those.
Yes, I know.
Hey, Nox got a natural 20.
Yeah.
She knew everything.
That was
I
a
did.
fluke, obviously.
Who's doing a history check now?
Who was that for? Sorry.
That's
Who
for
was
you,
doing that?
Nox.
Oh,
Well-oiled machine.
I'm doing a history check for it, but I'll do it. I'm sorry, I'm very tired.
We could probably find like adornments to up our stats, like rings or circlets.
I would very much. I was about to say I would like if I could get like a Constitution belt. That would be dope. I got a 13 on my history check.
Okay, so you know that there's different classes of magical items, and common items are, well, they're the most common type of item, and you also know that for the most part, common magical items aren't really anything outstanding. For the most part, they're items that change things about you cosmetically. In your travels, you've heard about things like the boots of false tracks, which are a special pair of boots that, when worn, they leave behind the tracks of a wolf or a bear. You've heard about ever-burning candles and pieces of armor that never need to be cleaned, stuff like that. And looking around the store, you can tell that this is definitely a place where you can buy these sorts of things. But as Nox makes her way into the store, probably I'm imagining a bit like she did with Pumat Soul, where she just kind of got herself a little lost in a pile of trinkets. Is that?
Oh yeah.
Would that be accurate to say?
Yeah, for now. I'm actually looking up like some items. So I will circle back to something that she might want. But for now, yeah, you can assume that she's digging through, looking for anything that looks interesting.
Okay, I will say that as you make your way down one of the aisles and towards one of the back walls, there is a display case that catches your eye. And within the display case, if you decide to peer inside, there appears to be a lute, a finely polished lute of just bright white beech wood. And it's engraved with these nice curling little designs along the rim.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
Oh.
when you peer closer, you can also see a label. And on it, it says, Lute of Illusions, 50 gold pieces.
Illusions. Oh, Lute.
Yes.
Okay. Good to know. I'm interested.
Do you want me to circle back, or?
You can circle back. Yeah,
I'll circle back with you. Okay, so I'll say Gesh and Dhuur'in. What are you guys doing?
I am currently looking up magical common items.
Well,
but Dhuur'in is like, if Gesh is standing like faced forward, Dhuur'in is like kind of sideways with his staff in front of him, like almost touching Gesh's arm.
Gesh is just still waiting there for Cold Sprocket to come back. He doesn't really want to go and get anything else other than this opportunity to give a small gift to Kubo when he can.
All right. With that in mind, I'll circle back to you guys as well. Fenkin, you're kind of racing through the aisles of this enchanted toy shop, reliving memories that you did not know that you still had. And there are just thousands and thousands of toys and hundreds of items that are just glaring and glinting out at you. You see people having a great time. You see children chewing on candy and gum. It's probably the happiest that you've felt in a long, long time. You feel good. You feel happy, at peace. And
oh my god.
So yeah, but eventually though, you wander by one of the shelves, and there is something that sort of catches your eye. On the sitting on a lone shelf next to kind of like next to some older books and some like other kind of scant toys kind of scattered about, you see a hat. A very pointy black hat with a wide brim.
As Fenkin is almost lost in himself as he wanders through all the aisles and looking at all of the items, feeling unusually warm and at peace and almost a little teary-eyed, he does notice the hat and for some odd reason sort of stops in his tracks and looks at it a little extra closely. So he approaches it and he reaches out to touch it and maybe pick it up.
All right. So you take the hat off the shelf and you see that there's kind of like a little scroll kind of pinned to it. And as you take that off, you unfurl it and you see that it's kind of an instruction manual. And you see that this item is called the Hat of Vermin.
Wait,
And
repeat that.
the Hat of Vermin. And as you read through the instructions, you see that essentially what it does is when you put the hat on your head and speak the command word that's written on the bottom, which is verminious, you can take the hat off and evidently there will be something surprising sitting in the hat.
He reads the instructions and is immediately intrigued, but also a bit embarrassed to put that kind of hat on. So he looks around to see if anyone is looking, and when he doesn't immediately see anyone staring, he puts it on, speaks the command word, and then takes the hat off and looks into it.
All right. So as you speak the command word, which again is just verminious, you wait. And nothing seems to happen at first. So you take this very witch-looking hat off and kind of peer into it. And there's nothing inside. But suddenly, you hear a very loud croaking noise. And you feel a weight on the top of your head.
Well,
He blinks and freezes in place and carefully reaches his fingers up to touch the object on his head.
As you reach up, you feel something not wet, but a bit moist, a bit bumpy, a bit soft. And you hear another croak.
He blinks again. He's sort of completely frozen in almost fear. And then he carefully picks it up and pulls it down to look at it.
In your hand is a fat green toad that blinks at you and croaks.
He stares at it, and then he falls absolutely in love with it. What? He loves animals more than people. He adores animals. He sees this tiny little green thing. It's green. It's like him. It's green. And he's just like, hello. With the softest voice anyone has ever heard him use. He says, hello there.
As soon as you say hello there, the mouth drops open and the tongue shoots out and like against your nose.
I thought you were going to say it spoke.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine that? You're gonna die in 7 days.
Connor, I sent you a link.
He flinches a bit, and then
Something I want.
but yeah, he flinches a bit, and then he actually lets out a heart, like a laugh from the heart. Like he starts laughing really loudly.
Okay, so as you start to laugh, Ozla, you're soaring through the air and you have a great look at the entire store, and suddenly I think I said it was an albatross, deposits you onto the ground with a bit of a tumble and a roll, and flies away. And as you kind of get up and dust yourself off and like clip your hammer back onto your belt, you look up and you see that you see Fenkin turned around and kind of like his shoulders bouncing, and you have this moment of like, no, there's no way he's laughing, right? He doesn't laugh. This is Fenkin we're talking about. So, what do you do?
Oh, sorry. I thought there was more going. Like as she like tumbles on the phone to see this, she just sort of like stares at it. She's like, "This is so weird." But she does go up to him and saying, and she's obviously very nosy. So she just like starts shoving her face in where she can get it. So she's probably like just trying to nudge it in under his elbow. And she's like, "What's got you all funny?"
So, Fenkin, you feel suddenly a head pop out from under your robes. And, like, it startles you enough to, like, squeeze the toad a little bit. And you know those squishy animal toys where the eyes kind of pop a bit and the tongue shoots out when you squeeze them? That kind of happens to this frog for a second. He's just like, what?
He jumps and he like, oh, and then he's like, he almost dropped it, so he's like, and then he sighs in relief, and then he looks at Ozla, and he still has like a hint of some tears in the corners of his eyes, mostly from laughing now, and he just like blinks them away quickly and just like, what? What?
Are you crying?
No.
It's okay to cry.
I am not crying. Shut up.
You don't have to be manly around me. I know you're not.
And his voice is a little hoarse already from being teared up and from laughing. He's like, I'm not. Shut up. I'm not crying.
As he says that, she's like reaching up to like wipe away the tear.
Can she reach?
No.
So he sort of steps away and he sort of holds the frog out to show her, as if he's super proud, like, look at my friend.
This friend that I made.
In the last 2 seconds. Her hands like still like up in the air, like trying to reach his cheek, and then like as like he steps away and she sees it, she's like, "That's a fat little thing, isn't it?"
And
Just like you.
And the toad croaks. Ozla, the toad croaks. The mouth opens, and the tongue shoots out and hits you right in the eye.
No, bastard!
Laughs again, like heartily, like it likes you.
She's like sitting with like one hand over like the bruised up eye. She's like, "You little bastard! How fucking dare you!"
And as this is happening, Fenkin, out of the corner of your eye, you catch a flash of yellow, and you look up, and down the aisle you hear a voice like, No, don't touch the merchandise! Don't touch the merchandise without payment! And you see a fat dwarven woman making her way down the aisle, her hair kind of like done up in a bun. She's wearing a similar apron as Clement was wearing. And she seems very stern-faced. She's got kind of an orange beard that's kind of wispy in places, but a little thicker under the ears. And she makes her way over, and she says, "No, oh, you!" And she sees the toad in your hand. She says, "Oh, you! That's only got 3 charges a day. You know that, right?"
It touched me first, mate!
He blinks at the toad and then at her, and then he raises his eyebrows. Charges?
Aye, charges. You can only use it 3 times a day.
What does it do?
She kind of stops for a moment. She gestures at the toad in your hand, and she's like, What do you mean, what does it do? You just used it. Oh, my God. Please tell me you at least washed your hands before you took the merchandise off the shelf.
My hands are always clean.
We ask that if you wish to see a piece of merchandise that you call one of the employees, that is company policy, that... All right. Do you have an interest in the item at hand?
He just looks holding the frog. Looks at the frog, looks at her, looks at the frog. Tilts his head a little at the frog as if asking, like, do you want to come with me?
The frog's tongue, it doesn't shoot out, but it kind of goes... As it looks dead-eyed off into space, while the eyes kind of just like... Bleh.
Please don't tell me this is going to be Fenkin's familiar.
Please. Oh, what's he gonna name it?
I think I'm gonna name it Callan. Callan is Sumerian for green.
Oh.
But yeah, so he locks up the frog again, and the toad. And then he looks at her and she's like, hey, is this all the hat does? Is this a separate item from the hat?
The woman who you now probably know to be Bree, based on the description made by Betty Vore, she nods and she's like, yes, it has about 3 charges a day, and usually a different animal comes out every now and then, but yes, it's 3 charges and 50 gold pieces.
So this animal, what does it do?
It's a toad. It eats flies and croaks and smells bad.
So this is a toy that gives you animals to play with?
I suppose you could call it that, yes. Look, do you want to buy it or not? I'm on a schedule here, and she takes off her sleeve, and you see like 4 to 6 watches ticking and clicking on her arm.
Jesus.
He sort of like gently pets the toad on the head with one finger like this.
Every time you pet him with your thumb, the tongue just goes but.
He does this and looks a bit smugly over at her and says, only giving you an animal 3 times a day that doesn't really do anything but sit there and eat flies. It's kind of useless for 50 gold pieces, don't you think?
You're the one who was crying over it 5 minutes ago, from what I heard.
I did not.
I knew you were crying.
I wasn't crying.
She said she was that.
It's just a toy, right? A toy for 50 gold pieces.
Aye, unless you have a discount.
A discount?
You have a discount. Yeah. And then he sort of reaches into his, while like balancing the toad on one hand, he reaches into his bag with his other hand and then pulls out the coupon that he had tucked away and sort of holds it in front of himself.
Her eyes kind of widen, like she's genuinely shocked to see one of those tickets, and she's like, all right, that makes it 25 gold pieces.
He was sort of weighing the option while humming a bit as he looks at the toad. And then he seems to have an inner struggle with himself because he really does want it. He has never ever had something like this before. He's never ever had any toys or anything like that.
Do it.
But he's just sort of torn, and then he looks at Ozla as if with like breaking puppy eyes. Like,
I'll go for you if you want.
Don't you think it's a rather useless way of wasting money?
I mean, it made you laugh, so...
That's a good enough reason?
Yeah. Come here.
Really?
Yeah, and she like puts her hand down and she's not like fond of the toad, she's just like, ugh. But like,
He hands her the toad very gently.
She looks at it and she's like, I lost my train of thought. Shit, give me a minute. Fuck, there aren't even any words now. So yeah, she just looks in the eye.
As Ozla holds the toad, seemingly not learning her lesson, the tongue shoots out and gets her other eye.
No. We need her to be able to see.
She'll be fine.
I don't know.
She has to buy 2 eye patches.
Yeah.
It does that again. She's like, fuck! And like, she's like holding it and she's got both her eyes closed now. And she's like, I can't see you, but you and I are gonna have fucking problems. And she just like deposits it back in.
As Fenkin holds the toad, he's vibrating. He's visibly vibrating at the thought that he could actually buy something for himself that does not have an immediate use. And he's sort of like, I'll take it.
Alright, 25 gold pieces, please.
Ozla reaches in, she hands her the 25 gold pieces.
Wait, are you paying for it?
Yeah! She said she would! Yeah, she said she would!
He was on his way to reach for his own purse when he saw her do that. He was like,
I was like, oh fuck.
Okay, so, Ozla, go ahead and remove 25 gold pieces from your inventory, and Fenkin, add to your inventory the
I'm an
hat
idiot.
of vermin.
he has vermin now!
Yay!
Vermin! He can make animals!
And just as a reminder, the command word for this item is verminious, if you want to write that down.
Verminious.
Verminious.
Noted.
Okay.
So he spends the rest of the time just like staring at this toad with sparkly eyes, and you can basically see the sparkles and flowers around him, like his eyes, like pink.
All right, just 1 second. Kind of going through my notes.
Vinn really wants whatever you sent. May I please?
All right, so with that out of the way, who's going next?
Let Vinn go. Vinn
Go.
wants it so bad.
If I may.
All right, so Vinn, and is Gesh following Dhuur'in further into the store, or?
Oh, Dhuur'in's gonna kind of like usher him with his body, like, I want to move. You're coming with me, but I want to go somewhere.
So Gesh, as Dhuur'in kind of tugs on your ropes, you kind of have the feeling of like you're not really getting out of this argument that's not happening. And you also begin to reason, like, you're a giant blue Dragonborn in this store of mostly children. They're going to be able to find you pretty easy when they find what you're looking for. So, eventually you do yield and follow.
So I am going to go look for some magical jewelry.
All right.
No.
So if it's jewelry and clothing that you're looking for, you do. There is a specific area for that. In fact, there's signs that they're kind of like Dr. Seuss style, where the poles kind of like squirm up from the ground, and the signs are kind of shaped like pointing fingers and all that. But you follow one that says vestments, and you are able to find a little specialized room that has mostly jewelry and clothing. You see on these kind of like mannequins posed in different ways. There's different like styles of clothing. Most of them Zadashian. A few of them from like distant lands and different styles. You even see, as like an older woman looks at a robe, a mannequin moves and like does different poses for her.
Horrifying.
I hate it.
Horrifying. truly horrifying.
You also see a man looking at himself in a mirror wearing a cape, and it seems like the only purpose of this cape, its only magical trait, is that even when there's no breeze, it billows heroically like there's a wind behind him.
Lame.
But eventually, you do come across a little display case of jewelry, and in the display case, as you kind of lift it up to get a better look, you see what appears to be of jet black stone that doesn't even shine. It almost doesn't even look like a gemstone with how little it shines. It's you know the Vanta black paint. It looks like that. It looks almost like just a shard of nothing set into like a silver piece of metal with kind of a metal silver chain that's meant to go around your neck.
I have Gesh by the arm. Like I am holding him so firmly by like the forearm. And I drag him over to this jewelry case. And I like look directly down at this horribly black stone. And when it does not reflect the sheen of my glowering eyes, I am focused on.
What does Dhuur'in say?
I am focused on it. He didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry. It cut out. So, like, it sounded like Dhuur'in said something and the mic just didn't pick it up.
You are not allowed to hear me.
Is it my stone? Is it what I sent you?
I don't know. Is it?
Is it?
And then I'll, like, look up and kind of look around for an employee. Like, I know I can't just take this. And I look up at Gesh. And then look around and look up at Gesh.
He just raises the arm that's not being held and goes like, we have someone come over here. Just loud out.
Gesh, as soon as you say that, apart from the tugging that you feel from Dhuur'in, you also feel something tugging your pant leg.
Just looks down immediately to try and see what it is.
As you turn to look down, before you, possibly only 2 feet tall, 2.5 feet tall,
oh god,
is a monkey.
Oh,
a monkey in a red velvet vest with a little bellhop hat. He holds in his hand, and he stands up perfectly straight and looks at you with a very like leaden face, and he holds in his hand a tray. And on that tray are note cards. And he flips one down, and on the first card it says, "How may I assist you, sir?"
Monkey butler. Monkey butler.
My friend here needs to know the price of dark one. He just points at the black rock thing.
The monkey kind of leans over, looks back at you, flips the card, and it says, and it says, you mean the Dark Shard amulet. What would you like to know about it, sir?
Like I said before, my friend here would like to know the price.
He flips a bunch of cards, and one word at a time it says, "Don't get snippy with me, sir. I'm just doing my job."
And I made it perfectly clear what I wanted the first time I spoke to you. Obviously, your communication skills just aren't up to par.
Dhuur'in squeezes his arm really hard.
The monkey kind of like rolls his eyes. By the way, full disclosure, I ripped this character right out of Pirates, out of a stop motion pirate movie that I absolutely love. God, it's my favorite movie, and I keep forgetting what it's called. But if someone wouldn't mind googling that really quick for me, I'd like to give that movie a quick shout out. But the monkey kind of rolls his eyes, and he flips a note card, and he says, "In any case, one of our dark shard amulets is going to be around 200 gold pieces." He flips another card, and I've been told that you have a discount ticket, so that's going to bring it down to 100 gold pieces.
I nod very aggressively.
He flips a card. I take that to mean that you wish to purchase one of our fine items, then.
Yes.
And he flips another card. And this one, the fine print, there's so many words that's reduced down to fine print. So he holds it up for you to see. And and under it says, by making purchase of this item, you abstain from terms and conditions that blah, 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 blah. Basically, it's like a waiver for buying this potentially hazardous magical item.
I agree.
He flips another card, and it says, he says, very well then, that will be 100 gold pieces, please. And he takes his note cards off the tray and holds it up.
I struggle in my bag. I'm still holding on to Gesh, and I'm struggling in my bag for my gold and the discount ticket that we got, and I drop the gold.
All right.
On the tray.
So go ahead and remove 100 gold pieces from your inventory, and the monkey nods, opens up one of the pockets of his vest, and tilts the gold from the tray into the pocket. And curiously enough, even though it's 100 gold pieces going into the pocket, you don't see the pocket fill up at all. It's as if he poured nothing inside what is a very tiny pocket on a monkey. He returns the tray to where it is, puts his note cards back on, flips the card over, and says, "Just one moment." And he makes his way over to the display case, hops up, and kind of pulls the dark shard amulet off the little wooden display neck breast kind of thing, and kind of undoes a little winding mechanism that kept the string itself to the display itself. And with that done, he hands it over to you, and please add to your inventory the dark shard amulet.
Yes.
With that, the monkey flips over another card, and this one says, "If you have any other questions, my name is Bert."
Thank you, Bert.
And with that, Bert hops off the display case and walks away.
Bert, I love you.
I will
Bert.
post the Dark Shard amulet in campaign questions.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Memes.
Finally, that
Oh
leaves.
my god! Yeah, that's exactly what's going on right now.
Oh Christ, Jesus!
So finally, that leaves us with Nox.
Yay! So Nox spent a lot of time. She probably popped into pretty much every section of the store, just kind of trying to look quickly to see if there's anything that catches her interest, but knowing that they don't have literally all day to be in the store. But she has most likely found herself in the weapons department by now.
All right.
And where's the holy? Oh, I closed the fucking thing. Okay, sorry. Go on.
This being a toy store, there's not a lot of weapons and armor to purchase, but you do find a few old-looking pieces, kind of hanging on displays on the wall, sort of high up, so kids can't just reach up and be like, "Oh, I saw it."
She's looking for like either toy weapons or like she's kind of, even though she's not a spellcaster, she's like, I kind of want to see if I can find like a cool wand or something or a staff. So she is looking. Wands are fucking cool. I don't think she could use one, but she's like, it'd be cool to have.
They can.
I guess she could. Yeah. Well, she's not proficient in it. Anyway.
If the wand's spell is on your list, you can use it.
So, as you...
Oh, I guess that is how wands work, isn't it? In this, yeah.
So as you peer around this small corner of like weapons and whatnot, you're kind of looking around, and there's not a lot of wands there. There are a few, but they seem very old and in quite a bit of disuse. But there is something that catches your eye, specifically because it seems a little out of place. On the wall, above kind of like a bucket of toy swords and axes, and below a display of like real swords and real axes, you see what appears to be a cane, like a walking cane for old men.
A sword cane?
A cane? What does it look like it's made of, would you say? I guess I could do an investigation check to see what it's...
No investigation check needed. It looks like it's made out of a darker wood, perhaps like perhaps oak or maybe even mahogany. It seems like it seems very smooth and polished too. And as you get closer, you can also see that there's something engraved on the side.
Something engraved on the side. Can I read it? Is it a language that I can read?
Yes, it is a language. It is in common.
Okay.
And it says courage.
Interesting. She kind of touches it, feels it. She's like feeling. First thing she'll probably do is feel to like see if it's actually wood or if it's just like some cheap shit plastic made to look like wood.
All right. Are you lifting it off the wall?
Yeah, I would say yeah. She's picking it up.
All right. So you take it off. You take it off the wall.
My dice tray is here.
What?
Oh, my dice tray has been delivered.
Oh, solid.
Yes. I need to
go get it.
mail. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, as you pick up the cane, it is made of wood, you know, and it's maybe a bit heavier than a normal cane is supposed to be. But as you kind of inspect it, there's no like. It doesn't feel like there's anything to pull out. It doesn't seem like there's anything relatively strange about this cane. Except for the word courage.
Right. She runs her paw over the carvings and kind of turns the cane every which way to examine it. And then she could burn a spell slot to cast Identify, but instead of doing that, she's going to try to flag down someone that works there. Just kind of look up, look around, wave her arm excitedly, try to get someone's attention to come and talk to her.
All right. So as this happens, as you wave your arms around, you hear a clanking noise, and from around a corner, a brass giant makes his way around, flickering candle eyes peering at you as he makes his way over, and he cocks his head with a creak.
Frightening. Not what she was expecting to see, and that's very clear in the expression that she makes as she looks up at this massive thing. But then she shakes off her surprise, and she kind of holds out the cane towards him, and she says, "Excuse me, can you tell me anything about this?"
The head of Clement creaks down, and he examines it for a second with kind of like a long scan up and down the wood before he looks back up at you, and then a brass finger comes up, taps the word courage, And finally, in a very deep, tinny voice, you hear, "Speak."
What did you say? Speak?
Speak.
Speak. She looks at it uncomfortably for a second, and then she, like, very slowly and hesitantly, as if she's like, okay, is this gonna, like, explode or something? Am I gonna regret doing this? She reaches out and she puts her hand on the cane over the carvings, and she says uncertainly, "Courage?"
There's the sound of a blade being unsheathed from its place, and you feel a motion in your hand. Suddenly, the wood flattens and turns to metal. It extends, and there is no longer a cane in your hand, but a gleaming silver rapier. Its pommel is a red rose. Its handguard is a golden rose. And on the blade, embellished in what appears to be a black etching, it says, "Courage of the Rose."
Courage of the Rose? Wait, sorry, you cut out for a second.
Yeah, it says "Courage of the Rose."
Courage of the Rose. Okay. You see her eyes just kind of. I appreciate this unboxing that's happening right now, by the way.
Welcome to our new unboxing video.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Nice box.
another unboxing video. My name is PewDiePie, and I'm really
Oh
racist.
God.
My name is-
Oh Jesus.
And we
I would. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. You see her eyes kind of like just widen and her pupils dilate the second that it starts to change. And she looks at it in clear awe and interest. First, she kind of like touches the blade to see if it to like check to feel that it's again a real blade and not some cheap shit. That's actually metal, which I assume it is.
This blade is very real, and
Yeah.
You're not you're not really a weapon expert, Nox,
Mm-hmm.
but you can tell that this thing is almost supernaturally sharp.
Ooh. Interesting. So she sees that. She turns it. She looks at the rose on the pommel, and she is very interested in that. She looks at that for a second, kind of traces it with her finger, and then she glances back up at the giant, and she says, "How do I change it back?"
He cocks his head and he says, "Drop or speak."
She looks mildly appalled at the idea of dropping it. So Sophie, are you okay? You look like you're
I
crying.
just read what you sent.
Oh, sorry.
It got me all so off guard.
She's her thought process is like, fuck no, I'm not gonna drop this. Look how nice it is. So she just holds it again in her paws, and she says, "Courage."
You are now holding a cane, a regular wooden cane.
She like twirls it around, and then she's like, "Courage, courage, courage." Just wants to see how many times it can go back and forth.
As you swing it around your hand, transforming it from a sword into not a sword, you eventually get a bit tired, but like you're excited. It's like an excited tired, like a kid with a toy. And you turn around and you see Clement looking down at his apron and a big slash that's been cut through it.
She sees that, and she's like cut. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, gosh, silly me! I just got so excited. This is such an interesting weapon. How much is it?
He kind of like slowly looks up from his apron, and he takes a long time to answer. Base price, 200 gold pieces. Zemnian currency.
She looks at it for a while, and then she looks back at him. And then she looks down at it, and she says, I see. Just very slowly. Like, you can see like the wheels turning of her being like, how do I manage to convince a robot who's probably got strict programming to give this to me at a lower price?
Don't forget you have your discount ticket.
Oh yeah, shit, we do. Fuck. Oh my god. Did I? Okay, I didn't put that in my equipment. That's why. That's why I'm dumb.
You have a coupon.
I didn't write down my coupon. That's me being silly. What were the... Did they tell us what the terms were of the coupon? I forgot.
Just 50% off. Yeah, 50% off.
That's
Whatever you want to buy.
Still more money than I have, but it's worth it. She looks very put out, but then she remembers the coupon. She takes it out. She looks at it. She remembers that it's 50% off, which is 100 gold, which is still more gold than she has.
So go get Dhuur'in. He'll give you some gold.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's going to. Yeah. She like holds it up and she holds up the cane and kind of like gestures down the aisle towards where the others are with it.
How much do you need? I have 29 pieces left.
Oh, that's enough. That's enough.
Okay.
I need 16 of that 29.
Okay.
She gestures down and she's like, be right back. And with the cane in hand, because she's not going to put it down, she hurries off to go bum money off the first person that she sees, which is going to be Dhuur'in. And she rushes up to him and she just like very like hastily like grabs his arm. Not knowing that it will probably startle him, but like not caring enough because she's very excited about this cane. And she's like, dark one. Do you have any spare gold?
He kind of like looks at the amulet that he just bought, and then looks down at his pouch, and he just hands her the whole thing.
Aww.
Oh.
Baby.
All 29.
She takes it, she opens it, and kind of like dumps out the gold coins into her hands and very quickly counts out 16 pieces, which is how much she needs. And then she pockets that, she puts the rest back into the pouch, and she just kind of like pushes it at him without waiting to see if he actually catches it or not, and then like turns to go run back to the robot.
She gets it back.
Of course.
He's like,
there's like a very quick like thank you as she goes. She's just like it's off. And then she goes back to where I assume the attendant that was helping her is still standing there with his poor ripped up.
Yeah, Clement is still standing there as ordered, but he is kind of like taking up like the piece of his apron that's been sliced, and he's just trying to like.
For modesty.
Her boy. Oh wait. Yeah. Okay. So she runs up to him. She takes out her own gold purse, which contains 84 coins, and dumps the 16 that she borrowed from Dhuur'in into it, and then she borrowed as if she'll give it back. She won't. And she holds it up to him very excitedly, like, here, 100 pieces, and I have a coupon for 50% off. And then she takes that out too, and then like kind of bundles it together with her pouch of gold and shakes it at him for him to take.
All right, so Clement nods, watching you very intently as you kind of like bundle everything up and then hold it out, and a huge brass hand comes out and takes it, and you watch as like his faceplate drops open, and inside you see that there's just like this empty space full of a bunch of other like pouches of coins, and he puts that inside and closes his face back up, and he nods and he says, "Thank you for your purchase." please do not cut my apron more.
She stops for a second, like blinking in mild surprise because she completely forgot about the apron. And then she looks down at the big old cut that's in it, and she's like, "Oh, yes. If I may." And then she will put her paw on it and cast mending because that's one of the cantrips that she has to fix it.
Aww.
So as you cast mending, you watch as the fabric seals up like a wound almost. And with that done, you twirl away your brand new toy in hand, your brand new stabby, steely toy, and you leave Clement behind, who just pokes his apron, looks up, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And with that, Fenkin, you had a question.
I do have a question. So remember back at Pumat's, I was offered a bowstring?
A bowstring, yes.
Aw.
Yeah, does that exist here too, or only in that store?
Only that store.
Dang it! Okay, thank you.
Okay. With that in mind, as everybody kind of like eventually naturally meets back in the center of the store to show off your brand new shinies and toys, you guys see that Fenkin is wearing a very witchy looking hat and carrying a toad, which seems very un-Fenkin-like of him. You see Nox with a stick in hand, and Dhuur'in with like the blackest gem you've ever seen hanging on his neck next to the amulet of Palor.
We're all just kind of looking around at each other like,
Awesome. She sees that everyone's got something in their hand, and then she looks around and she goes, "What the fuck?"
Fenkin puts the toad on his shoulder.
As the toad is placed on your shoulder, Ozla, and maybe as you like kind of freak out a little bit, before you have a chance to react, the tongue just goes right in your ear.
Oh God! Oh, that's so viscerally unpleasant.
The worst part, I hate that. I can feel it.
He catches the frog and she visibly shudders him off and so puts him on his own shoulder, giving him a little look like, "I'm there."
She's just there, like wiping her ear, like fucking. I hate that.
So, with Oz's ear violation, there is you hear very small footsteps making their way towards you, and you hear a voice, "Mr. Gesh, where are you, Mr. Gesh? Oh, there you are, yes." And he, as you turn around, you see Betty Voris making his way towards you, and in his hand he has what appears to be a kind of a brown case, and he's like, "You were asking about sorcerer's items, I didn't have anything in specific, but well, these make for great gifts." And he pops open the little box, and inside is a very thin, sleek-looking white wand, about a foot in length.
That's the only thing?
It is, but I assure you, I think your friend will enjoy it. Give it a try, give it a wave. And he pulls the box out to you.
Can Gesh use it?
I don't perform. I'm not a sorcerer.
And neither am I. And yet, I can still use it. In fact, a child could use it.
I am peeking from behind Gesh's arm that I am still holding in a death grip. It hurts.
Right, so we just with the arm that's not being crushed there. So that just sort of grabs it, gives it the once over, looking at it. He doesn't actually try and do anything with it because he's not exactly trained in magic or spells or anything like that, and he'd rather not accidentally set this whole place on fire or something.
Right.
So, then he just then he asks, how much for this thing?
That's going to run you about 100 gold pieces.
But with my coupon, that would be 50 gold pieces.
Exactly right, my friend.
Then here you go. And so, he gets out the coupon, he gets out the 50 gold pieces, and he hands them over.
Betty Boris graciously accepts it and kind of clips it to his belt, and he leans on his little walking stick, and he says, "Excellent, excellent, and we can have that gift wrapped for you if you would prefer. But can I help anybody else find anything? It looks like everybody's found something they particularly enjoy." And he looks over at Nox, and he's like, "Oh, that's a good choice right there. Helped me in a few scraps."
She's holding her new prize with both hands and looking very pleased.
A new prize.
Fenkin is still very much sparkling. And he gives him like pretty big eyes, rather friendly eyes for being Fenkin. And so just sort of like nods.
Aww.
I know exactly what I'm going to use this amulet for.
Killing Fenkin. Friendly damage.
Well, just so you know, you're all welcome back here anytime. Anytime you're in Zadash, stop on by and perhaps I'll have some tea ready for you.
Ooh.
And with that, and with your new haul of magical goodies, you guys make your way out of the store. Out of Cogsprocket's Emporium, Toy Extraordinarium.
Sorry, real quick, does the Courage of the Rose, does that have the same stats as a regular rapier?
Regular rapier, yep.
Okay, cool. It's just cooler, and she's going to use it instead of her... Oh, well, she didn't have a sword before. She only had a dagger, so... Whee.
Nice.
Yeah, that's kind of why I pointed you in that direction, because, like...
Yeah, she gave me a better weapon.
Yeah.
My weapon suck.
Because, let's be honest, if you got into close combat, you'd be fucked.
Yep.
Nog's just like...
Yep.
Alright.
House.
Yeah, you guys... And... By the way, I was reading in general that there were some concerns about having time. There is still time to do the bathhouse. In fact, we have about 30 minutes left on this clock. So, if we're still going by that time, what I'll do is I'll have us take another 10-minute break and then go another 2 hours if you guys want, or however long it takes.
Yeah!
Yeah.
I can stay up late today because I have the late shift tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes.
So was that you can stay up late or you can't stay up late?
I can.
You can. Okay, cool. That was what I was a bit concerned about. Anyway, as a group, you kind of make your way out of the toy store with your brand new shinies. All of the taller races have to crawl out again. It's very undignified looking to the people passing by on the street. But you don't care because you got a lot of nice, cool stuff now.
Oh, yes, I did.
I would like Fenkin, as he dusts himself off, to turn to Ozla and give her a long look until she looks back at him.
Hi.
And then he sort of gives her a very soft look as he mumbles out, "Thank you."
Aw, you like me.
Shut up.
I finally let go of Gesh's arm.
Fenkin blushes a little on the top of his ears.
Okay.
Gesh sort of leans down to Dhuur'in. He's like, you are more powerful than I am. You didn't need
He cocks his head up a little bit. He kind of cranes his head like, what? The noise. I did not like it.
Well, just tell me if it happens again.
I will.
They're bonding.
All of us.
And as
It's Nox.
Not Nox. She's just bonding with her fucking awesome cane that she got.
Yeah.
Everyone bonded already.
Yeah.
That's true.
Everyone's getting their Zuko episode with Dhuur'in.
Exactly.
So, as you guys are walking along, again, I'm going to say that you got directions to Stina's Respite from Claudia at the, because she's the one who recommended it, I think. But as you guys are walking along, Ozla, as Princess jumps up into your arm, you don't really remember Princess having a little purple top hat, but evidently, at some point in the toy shop, Princess either stole or was adorned with a little purple top hat.
Yay! He deserves it.
We'll choose to believe he was adorned with it.
Yeah.
Oz's not going to believe that. She's going to look straight at him and go, "You little thief! I'm so proud of you!"
He kind of like does that one eye at a time blink at you, not at all understanding the words.
No, I'm going to give him a love.
But also, as you guys are walking through the street, Fenkin, about an hour has passed since you got the frog. And suddenly on your shoulder, you hear a croak, and another croak, and another croak. And you see the frog kind of shaking, and its eyes twitching.
Oh, trauma.
And you hear what sounds like the sound of a balloon being filled as the toad expands, and then pop. Not in like a gory spray of blood, but literally like a balloon might pop.
It's like that scene in Shrek.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say that!
Heartbroken.
Oh my god!
He started to bond with this toad, and he watches it, and he flinches, and then he just stops in his tracks and stares at the absence of Toad for the longest time, and he's not saying anything. But if you stand very close, you can see his eyes watering. He does not attempt to move.
I didn't want to do this, but the item description says the animals only last an hour.
It's true. Fenkin, you knew this.
Listen, he reverted into a little child in that store, okay? He did not know the consequences.
I mean, the good news is you still have 2 charges on the hat left for the day.
He doesn't understand it right now. He's just sort of staring at where it was, and if the group is still walking, he's sort of left behind, just staring at the essence.
Did everyone hear the pop?
There's like little scraps of frog on your shoulder, and you guys are walking away as Fenkin is just like...
Trauma acquired.
The frog
You
pop.
hear the pop noise.
I'm gonna say it was like pretty loud, yeah.
Oh, I definitely jumped.
Ozla was probably pretty close to him, right?
Yeah, I was gonna
Ozla
say she's probably like
Ozla
heard
the
the
pop.
she's heard the pop noise and she looks up and she just like catches it at the end, and for a moment she goes like fuck, it's gone. But then then she sees Fenn's eyes watering and she just goes and like in like her she's just like and then she looks at Princess and she's like take him.
As Princess is held out to you, he like eyeball blinks with one eye at a time, and his tongue is hanging out of his snout.
Like the
Fenkin just slowly turns to look at us and Princess, and his eyes look absolutely empty, devoid of any emotion, any of the childlike glee that he had before. And then he just sort of looks up again and keeps walking.
No!
That charm of wonder that you saw in the store, it's gone. He's back to cold, hard Fenkin now.
I love this.
You did this, Connor.
You broke him!
Oh, I
You
feel
did
like I just
this.
did a line of coke. Ooh.
Oh god.
He's gonna be so depressed in the bathhouse, I can't wait.
He's standing under the shower.
He was literally picturing him and the frog in the bathhouse and like him washing the toad and putting little bubble hats on him.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
I might be a psychopath.
My chest is hurting so bad.
I will remind you again that you have 2 more charges on the hat, as per the instructions.
He doesn't dare. He's not gonna dare to use it anymore. He can't go through that again, man.
We could
Down the
use
drain.
the hat and the vermin that come out of it as potential distractions.
Yep. Just throw it at random things
Yeah,
like
but if I'm gonna want to do
bugbears
that,
or
like it's sacrificing animals.
bandits. Yeah.
They're magic. They're not real
Yeah.
creatures.
You're gonna have to rip it from his hands, and then he's gonna watch you sacrifice another of his friends, and he's just gonna stand there and break a little more each time.
I'll do that. I'll be the one to break Fenn's heart.
I mean, if we travel far enough, we won't have to worry about Fenn's concerns. So
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Oh god.
To be honest.
As soon as I saw how happy Fenkin was to have that toad, I was like, oh, this is gonna
Oh, no.
be bad.
You know what just hit me? In my head is playing the meme of, that's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Come on! Oh god, you're so red.
I need to take that 10-minute break now. We'll say that we got to Steve's Respite.
I need to collect myself. I need a minute of mourning.
Alright. Everybody will be back on part 3 of episode 8. We'll see you in just a second.